Fine. So this is day 1 which we made. Okay, we made this yesterday, right? Workspace is the path where you store all the code. Okay, when you open Eclipse, it asks you for a workspace, right? Okay, fine. So I'll just make a new class or a new folder over here, a new Java project known as day 2. Fine. Can we use any? Yeah, well, if you want to use any other tool other than Eclipse, you can use. Okay, that is not a problem. Fine. Right. So this day 2 project. Okay. Now what we'll do is that we'll study the concept of object-oriented programming in day 2. Alright. So under the source folder, I'll make a new class. Fine. I'll make a new class under day 2 folder, right, for studying object oriented concepts. Now the reason I'm teaching you object oriented concepts is because the concept of Selenium, the architecture of Selenium is completely based on object oriented programming principles. Okay, right. So just a minute, guys. Right. So I'll make a class known as say a simple class like laptop with no main function, nothing, right? A simple class known as laptop. Now what are the features of a laptop? Okay, what are the features of a laptop? A laptop is like string, say the name of the laptop, okay, int price of the laptop, okay, or string the company to which the laptop belongs, the price of the laptop. So these are the various properties of a laptop. Fine. Okay. So if I make this class has got no main function, it cannot execute, but it actually denotes a laptop. Okay, right. And now if I make a new class, say I make a class user. Fine. So I made a class laptop.java, it denoted a laptop. Okay, that laptop has got two properties. Fine. Okay, and one class is user. Right. This user class will be accessing laptop class. Okay, and what we'll be doing is that we'll be creating the object of laptop class in the user class. Right. So what we'll be doing is that creating the object means you'll be writing I'm sorry, new laptop. Okay, I'll write over here new laptop. This means that we are creating object of the laptop class. Right. Now what happens in the memory when you create it, when you write new laptop? What do you mean by creating an object? Okay, what do you mean by new over here? Okay, what does it actually signify? Right. What happens is that if you create the object, okay, then an object like this is formed in the memory. Okay, it's got two parameters, name, sorry, say company and price. The two parameters which we had kept in the laptop class will be present inside this object. I can create any number of objects. If I want, I can create two objects. Right. What will happen is that in the memory, two such objects will be created. with company and price parameters in it. Okay, fine. But you cannot access these objects. To access these objects, right, you need to have something known as object references, which will point towards these objects and you can access them. Okay, right. So you write over here laptop L1 equals to new laptop and laptop L2 equals to new laptop. You can write like this. Okay, so what will happen is that memory means memory of your PC. Okay, so what will happen is that these two objects will be created and L1 and L2 would be the references to these to these objects. Okay, right, and with L1 and L2, alright, fine, you can access and change the you can change the state of the objects. Okay, you can write over here L1 dot, right, when you write L1 dot you can access the internal components of the object like company and price. These are the two parameters, right, you can access them. You can write L1 dot company is HP, L1 dot price is 1000. Okay, L2 dot company, similarly you can write equals to HP. You'll get those parameters in the suggested values. L2 dot price equals to 2000. Okay, although this class has got just two variables, but by creating different objects of this class, for each and every object you can have a different value. Okay, right, I hope you got my point. Right, so what exactly or how exactly is creating objects useful for us? Alright, this will be clear to you in some time, right, as we proceed, but try to understand what an object is. Right, an object can hold the properties of a class inside it. Right, yes, you can access it from other packages as well. Right, okay, similarly this class can have function. If this class has got function public void print details, it will print the company and the price details. Okay, inside it I will write system.out.println this. So this print details function will also be there inside each and every object. The print details function would be present inside each and every object as well. Right, if I write L1 dot print details, okay, right, then if you go to this print details function, you can click on the control button, it will look like a link to you. Okay, when you click on the function will open up. When you're debugging code, it helps a lot. Right, so it will print, if L1 is calling, it will print the company and price for L1. Right, if L2 is calling, it will print the company and price for L2. Fine. You write L2 dot print details. Alright, so when you run this, right, so hold on, it is printing HP 1000 and HP 2000. I can write some other name over here, it will be more clear, Sony. So it will print both the laptop details. Okay, right. How is memory allocated to that function while object creation? It's done by Java only, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, you should write only concentrate on creating code. Java handles memory. Okay, right. Now, moving ahead, if you actually look at this, I told N1 and L2 are the object references. Fine. If I'm creating one more object, say L3, right, and if I write over here L3 dot company is say Dell, L3 dot price is 800, right. Then in the memory I'm creating another object. Okay, the reference to that object is L3, right. Now please understand, object is different, okay, and object reference is different. This is object, the boxes are object, and L1, L2, L3 are references. The objects will be there in the memory, they cannot be changed, but the references can be changed. Yes, you can write like this either. Okay, if I write like this, L1 equals to L2, what does this mean? Okay, practically this means that L1 was pointing towards this object earlier, right, to the HP object. Okay, this was HP, this was Sony, and this was Dell, right. So L1 was pointing to HP. If I write L1 equals to L2, in the memory L1 will not point towards this now, rather L1 will point towards the same object to which L2 is pointing. So L1 and L2 point towards the same object. L1 and L2 can change the state of the same object. Okay, so if I write over here hold on, I just draw a demarcation line, and if I write L1 dot print details and L2 dot print details again, and if I run this, see, after that it will only print Sony for L1 as well, because L1 started pointing towards the other object. If I change the state, if I write L1 dot price is 200 instead of 1000, okay, and after that if I again print the details, then when one reference changes the state of the object, when one reference changes the price, it gets updated in the object, and both L1 and L2 will print the updated details. You see that for both it becomes 200. I hope you are getting my point. Fine. Okay, so this is what an object does. You create the object and you access the variables inside the object with object reference. An object reference can move from one object to another object as well. Okay, right. If you look at the laptop class, fine, this had the print details function. Now technically this variable over here is known as non-static variable. This variable is also known as non-static variable. This function is known as non-static function. Okay, right. Now suppose I have got a variable int number of function keys. Right. Now we know that every laptop or every computer has got, right. I'm coming over to that point. Hold on, I'll tell you what static is. Okay. We know that every laptop or every PC has got function keys F1 to F12, and we know that this value is always going to be 12 for all the objects. Whenever I create the object, I'll have to write L1 dot number of function keys are 12. Okay, after that L2 dot number of function keys are 12. Okay, so we'll keep all the number of function keys as 12 only. Alright, so it doesn't make sense to do like this, right? Okay, so what we do is that we make it static in nature. Static is something which is common for all the objects. If these are the objects in the memory, these three objects, right, then static stuff will reside somewhere over here at a common place in the memory, right, and all the objects can access it. Static is something which is common for all the objects. It's not inside the object. Okay, that's why static stuff you can directly access it with the name of the class. You can simply write laptop dot number of keys are function keys are 12. So all the laptops will have 12 function keys. Static can directly be accessed with the name of the class dot the static variable, but non-static has to be accessed only by creating the object. Non-static variable and functions are the part of the object. Okay, static variables and functions are not the part of the objects. They can directly be accessed with the name of the class. I hope you got my point. Fine. Okay, if anybody has any question, please let me know. Alright, now how is this concept used in Selenium? Right, yesterday we saw you can download the jar files of Selenium and you can configure those jar files on your machine. Right, you can add the jar files in this project. So similarly in today's project also I will add the jar files. Hold on. All the jar files under lib folder and the jar file which is this one. Right. Okay. Right. If you have any function which is common for all the laptops, say for example public static void xyz, any function which is common for all the objects, you can keep it static and you can directly call it laptop.xyz. Okay, so this static variable and static function, they are not part of the object. Okay, right. So I added the Selenium jar files over here. Okay, fine. If you actually go to the official website for Selenium, okay, out here, okay, the question being asked is what are the steps again to download Selenium jar file. It's very easy. Okay, you can go to seleniumhq.org and you can download them. Right. Moreover, if you look at the documentation of Selenium, okay, if you go to the website, seleniumhq.org, right, and if you yes, Bipin, you can okay. There were a few questions I missed them. Can I change the static variable value using class? Yes, you can change the values of static variables. It's not that it's final, right? Okay, another question being asked is I don't see reference libraries over here. When you add Selenium jar files, only then you will see reference libraries. Okay, and make sure you are under Java perspective. Okay, when you in your Eclipse you will see that you have an icon over here. Okay, there is an icon. Hold on. There is an icon out here. Okay, this icon, right? When you click on it, you'll get the various perspectives available. Right? Go to the Java perspective. All right. Make sure you are in the Java perspective. Fine. Now, as I was saying, if you go to seleniumhq.org, go to the download layouts section. You can download the jar file from this location. Okay, all the jar files will be available. Right. If you go to the Java documentation, then these are all the classes inside Selenium. Okay, right. For every browser, they have actually made a class. For example, you will see a class known as Chrome driver. Many of you must have heard about it as well. It's used to work on Chrome. Okay, then you have got a class called Firefox driver. Fine, Firefox driver is used to work on Firefox. Right. So similarly for Internet Explorer, it is Internet Explorer driver. For Safari, it is Safari driver. Okay, apart from that, you have got many other classes as well. See, this is Safari driver. Okay, right. Now, although Safari driver is not so stable. Okay, now moving ahead, right. How do you use these driver classes? Fine, I'll make a new class known as Selenium Basics. Fine. Now out here in the earlier example, I was creating a class which was visible to me laptop.java. Right. In Selenium Basics, we will create the objects of Selenium classes, the classes which are present inside the jars for Selenium. For example, as I told you right now, a class like say Safari driver or a Firefox driver. Right. I showed you yesterday as well. If you simply create the object new Firefox driver, a blank Firefox window will open up just by creating the object of this class, right? But you need to import this object. It is import this class. It is present in one of the jar files of Selenium, right? You move your mouse over the error, you will see an error, okay, and you will see the option to import Firefox driver. You import it. Please note Java is a case sensitive language. At times people keep D small and then they'll fall into trouble. In Firefox driver D is capital. Okay, Java is a case sensitive language. Now when you run this code, you will see that a blank Firefox browser will certainly open up. Right? Okay, fine. Now similarly, right, if you have to access the object, okay, if you have to change the state of Firefox, if you want to go to any site, click on a link or something, you need to keep the object reference Firefox object f1 equals to new Firefox. So with this f1 you can manage the browser. You can write f1 dot and you will get all the non-static properties which are there inside Firefox driver class. So these are all the functions which are defined by Selenium, guys. People who made Firefox driver class made so many functions in it. So you don't need to memorize all of them. Okay, you really don't need to memorize all of them, right? Okay, I refer the documentation. Right, I refer the documentation of Selenium whenever I have to find a particular function and what it does. I need to get it. Right. So if I write f1 dot, I get a function like say get. This will help me to get to a certain URL. Okay, I can give any URL over here. Fine. When you give the URL, please make sure you mention the protocol. This is not like QTP. Okay, in QTP you can simply write the website name, but in Selenium mentioning the protocol is very important. Okay, when you run this, you'll see a new Firefox browser opening up. And you see that it goes to yahoo.com. Right. Okay, similarly, right, similarly you can have classes for every browser. Like I told you, you have got Chrome driver. If I write Chrome driver equals to, or say cd equals to new Chrome driver, fine. Okay, you will have to import Chrome driver first of all. Alright, and if I run this, let me comment these two lines. Commenting will disable the lines, right? When I run this, all of you will get an error. Even I get an error. Okay, the path to driver executable must be set by webdriver.chrome.driver property and all. Look, the thing is that Chrome driver, okay, the class Chrome driver, alright, it requires a exe file to be downloaded from the Selenium website. Okay, if you go to Selenium official site and if you are under the download link, right, you scroll down, you'll see a section third party browser drivers not developed by Selenium HQ. Over here you'll find Chrome. Fine, you click on this. Right, go to the downloads link over here, latest release Chrome driver 2.13. Go here and download the zip file corresponding to your operating system, Mac, Linux, Windows. This is a file for Windows 32-bit. If you have a 64-bit, you can download this file only. It will work on 64-bit machine. Okay, it doesn't matter. Fine, right? Once you download this file, okay, and once you actually keep it, like for example, in my machine, I am having the class I'm having it over here. This is the exe file which you get after downloading and extracting the zip file, chromedriver.exe. Fine, I've kept it in my D drive. Fine, so you write over here, you have to set a system property. You need to write system dot set property. Okay, system is an internal class in Java. Set property is a static function inside that particular class. Okay, so you can simply write system.set property and you can give the property like Webdriver dot Chrome dot driver. Okay, you can set the system property Webdriver dot Chrome dot driver and give the path to the exe file which you have actually downloaded, d drive Chrome driver dot exe. Okay, now when you run this, Chrome will open up. Make sure Chrome is installed on your machine as well. Okay, and there is no need to actually run that exe file. Don't try to run it after downloading. Okay, you see that Chrome is open, right? But there is a problem over here. When you run Chrome driver, it runs the exe file. After you close the Chrome browser, right? Chrome browser will open after this. After you close the Chrome browser, that exe file would be running in your system. Okay, if you go to your task manager, you will see that Chrome driver.exe, you see that it's still running. So if I run this code 5 times, I will get 5 Chrome driver.exes still running in my PC, which will slow down my PC. You can end the task from here. I hope you are getting my point, right? So it's always good to use the command Chrome driver.quit. Okay, it's always good to use this quit command. This will quit the driver and end the exe. Alright, and now similarly you can use the command get over here, Chrome driver dot the get function. Okay, to go to a certain URL. Okay, like we did in a case of Firefox. Say CNN.com. Right, it will go to CNN.com. But in case of Chrome, the exe keeps on running, so you need to quit it. Right. Similar case is there with Internet Explorer driver as well. Right. You write over here Internet Explorer driver ID equals to new Internet Explorer driver. Right. Again, when you write Internet Explorer driver dot, you will get a lot of functions. Okay, you can look at these functions. The details of these functions you can get them from the Selenium website. Okay, that is the Java documentation of Selenium. Right, if you go here, you will get the Java documentation for Selenium. Fine. Now, guys, there is one thing which is important. Right, you can also get this Java documentation imported inside Eclipse. Okay, you don't need to go to seleniumhq.org again and again. You can import this documentation to Eclipse. Alright, what you can do is that you can go to the day 2 properties, the project properties. Alright, you can go to the project properties, fine, and you can go to the jar file for Selenium which you have, the main jar file, Selenium Java 2.44.jar. Okay, any 2.x.jar, you can go here, you expand this jar, and here there will be an option Java doc location. Okay, edit it and you paste the URL of the Java doc link over here. Okay, and remove index.html from the end. Just paste the link till Java Okay, and click on OK, click on OK. Now Java documentation is imported. Right. If say I move my mouse over Internet Explorer driver, it will tell me what Internet Explorer driver is. What about this class? What are the functions and all? If I write id dot, it will give the functions, and as I move my mouse over the functions, I'll get the description as well. Like it's not showing right now. Sometimes you need to actually restart Eclipse. Right. In case of Firefox driver, hold on. Yeah, you see that it's showing the description. Like the close function description is closes the current window. Okay, right, equals function, find element, so it will tell you everything. Okay, this is very handy, right? And if you click on any link inside this, then the documentation would be opened inside Eclipse only. Hold on, it's opening. Hold on, it's not opening it. Hold on, hold on. This page can't be displayed. Okay, I think I need to restart my Eclipse. Okay, but we'll be using it in future as well. Alright, this documentation can be imported in Eclipse. Okay, sometimes it gets a little weird, like it is getting right now. Okay, but when you restart your Eclipse, it becomes okay. Fine. Now if you create the object of Internet Explorer driver and if you run it, it will again give you an error. Okay, I should have commented Firefox driver. Hold on. If I run this, it gives an error in case of Internet Explorer driver. For Internet Explorer driver also there is an exe path. There is an exe file to which I need to give the path. Okay, you can get that from Selenium website. Okay, you have the Internet Explorer driver server section over here, right? And you can download any 64-bit I or for 32-bit I. You can download the file. Okay, it's not 32-bit or 64-bit processor, but the if you have got 32-bit Internet Explorer or if you have got 64-bit Internet Explorer. Okay, I already have it downloaded. Right. Oh, hold on. Right. If you go to, I have it with me under D drive. Hold on, I've kept it somewhere. Yeah, it's over here. Driver server. You download it and you get the file like this. Okay, you need to give the system part. Okay, you need to write system dot set property webdriver dot I dot driver to the path of the exe file which you have downloaded. Okay, D drive. Hold on, I'll answer your question. Hold on. I driver server dot exe. Okay, right. Similarly with I as well. You need to quit in the end, otherwise this exe would keep on running. Okay, it's mandatory. No, it's not per browser. The Java question being asked is the Java document path which you set, should that be set for all the browsers? It's not for a particular browser, it's for the complete documentation of Selenium. Okay, right. Now when I run this, When I run this, hold on, it will open I, right? I is opening, that's fine. It will quit it in the end as well. The browser will close. But sometimes you might face an issue and I might not open up. Okay, I might not open up. There can be various reasons for that. Okay, the first reason is that make sure that in your I, like I never use I, right? If you go to your zoom settings, the zoom in I should be set to 100%. Make sure you don't have it more than 100%, right? Secondly, if you go to internet options in I, under the, you'll be finding various tabs. Under the content tab, sorry, under the under the security tab, you will see 4 sections: internet, local internet, trusted sites, and restricted sites. Each of these sections will be having a scrollable, you can say, level. Okay, this level, the scroll level should be same for all the 4 zones. If your eye is not opening properly, make sure that this level is same for all the 4 zones. Okay, so you have to take care of zoom settings, you have to take care of exe file, you have to take care of the security settings in I, right, and then launch I. If it launches, then it's fine, but if it gives errors, then you should look at these things. Fine. Now similarly, there are other drivers as well. For example, you have got a Safari driver. As the name suggests, it helps you to run the scripts in Safari. Okay, whichever browser we are opening, you need to quit that browser. Okay, if you are opening, if ID is pointing to iDriver, then you need to follow id.quit. Right, there are other drivers as well. Safari driver is there. Then earlier we used to have Android driver and iOS driver, which are no longer part of Selenium now. Okay, right. Then you have got something known as HTML unit driver as well. Okay, if you create the object of this class HTML unit driver dr equals to new HTML unit driver. Okay, and if you write dr dot get to the website http bbc.com. okay, right, and hold on, if I run this code, you will not see the browser opening actually. Okay, it does a kind of silent testing. Behind the scenes, it will send the request to the server, it will get the response. Okay, you can do a testing without opening the browser using HTML unit driver. This driver is very fast. It just sends the request to the server, gets the response, works on the response, sends the request. So it acts without opening the browser, consumes very less memory, right? At times people use this as well. Okay, right. So we'll be studying about these driver classes, and now for every browser we have a different driver. Okay, for Firefox you have a different driver, for Chrome you have a different driver, for Internet Explorer you have a different driver. For each driver you create the object, okay, and you access the properties of that object, right? But does that mean that every driver will have certain different functions? If I have to click on a link in I, right, then will the commands be same? Will I have to learn each and every driver separately? Are you getting my point? Suppose I have a test case. I need to execute that test case in all the 3 browsers, I, Firefox and Chrome. Then will I write the script separately for Firefox by creating the object of Firefox, then separately for Chrome, and then separately for IE? Okay, so these kinds of questions do come up in the mind, right? The answer to that is no. Okay, And I'll tell you why. It's because of the concept of something known as interfaces in Java language. Okay, I'll talk about interfaces in tomorrow's class. I need time for that. There is no, okay, question is being asked is why are we not, look, when you ask the question, please direct it to everyone so that everyone can see the question. Okay, why are we not including exe for Firefox? There is no exe for Firefox. There is no available exe from Selenium guys for Firefox. It will simply work. When do we use HTML unit driver? Sometimes you are working on a Unix console where you cannot open a browser. You can use HTML unit driver. Okay. Right. So, anybody having any questions? I'll stop here.